Now, the process that you go through with your channel,
Yes.
there's a conscious, and then there's, what is it, an unconscious?
Yes,
Or,
there are many levels to
different
it.
levels. So how is it that you actually interface with our discussion now?
Well, first and foremost, to address the specific aspect in your question that most connects to this conversation, the channel going in knew there would be absolutely no reason in this life for him to have chosen to bring anything through that was not going to in some way, shape, or form be of benefit.
Is that a conscious decision? Or subconscious or superconscious?
Both.
Okay.
It just became the obvious choice. In other words, to put it pragmatically in your language, the channel said something to himself like, why would I bother doing this if it wasn't going to be for a good reason?
Yeah.
And therefore simply settled within himself that even though there may be things that would come up in the process that may appear to be difficult or a struggle or quote-unquote negative, those would only be reflective of his own resistance to the process, his own resistance to discovering more about himself, and could not, in any way, shape, or form, actually be a negative entity outside of himself. Therefore, he simply trusted that on some level, even if it wasn't conscious, he knew what he was doing, and so did we. Because otherwise, there would be no point to it.
And the decision was made to go into trance or not into trance is the same way?
Well, the decision was simply made by being attracted to whatever methodology simply worked best for him.
Yeah. And there was no way to...
It's not exactly what you would label a trance. Oh. It's actually a state of hyperconnectivity, much more like a very deep and active daydream. Okay. Where many things are not in the outer world paid attention to, but it's not technically what your scientists would label as a trance. All the different brainwave functions, what you call the theta states and the delta states and alpha states and so on and so forth, are all there, but they're kicked up several notches, even though they remain in relative position to each other. Mm-hmm. It's a state of hyperconnectivity to more dimensions of the self, and allows us the opportunity then to connect to him on a level that's more similar to the dimension in which we are used to operating.
In all the different realities.
Yes.
Well, that sounds a lot more exciting than,
yes,
ooh, you're taking over the body.
Exactly, because that's not what's actually happening. Yeah. The body is not invaded, it is not occupied, it is not inhabited. It cannot be. There is no space for anything to actually come into. In actual fact, even though I understand completely that from your time-space linear perspective, it seems as if your spirit and your soul is in your body, it's actually the other way around. Your body is created within your soul. There's no room for anything else to enter it. So the way this is achieved in a quantum physical connotation is through resonance identification, like tuning forks. The channel has been trained to achieve a certain state of resonance that's closer to the state of resonance I exist in. I have been trained to go into a state of resonance that's closer to a state he exists in. We meet somewhere in the middle. Our frequencies go into lockstep, and what you get on your end is a translation of my thought process made out of the energy of the channel himself.
You step down and he steps up.
Exactly.
In between. Now,
and a third idea is created. A third reality is created.
What is the process to go into that state where you can actually...
Well, again, there are many different kinds of processes. The channel availed himself of what you would typically call a series of guided meditations in a channeling class. But you never know. Yeah. You may be taking a walk along the beach every day for 572 days, and suddenly on the 573rd day find yourself completely in the appropriate resonance state to allow yourself to identify with another level of beingness.
Yeah, like zapped by lightning or something.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Some people have actually done it that way.
Right, exactly.
Each to his or her own.
And I've always thought that as far as channeling is concerned,
yes,
that is so neat because all of a sudden it just happens without having to think about it.
It is, when allowed to be what it truly is, absolutely effortless. And the reason it does work is because everyone is already everyone.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah. In this moment.
Yes.
Because that's eternity right there.
Yes. So it's just allowing yourself to find a little bit more of that state of being in whatever way works best for you, and simply open the floodgates.
Open the heart, right?
Exactly
Basically.
so.
Yeah, like you were talking about.
That's the gateway. Now, it is, of course, in conjunction with the mind and the body, but the heart is the gateway, truly, through which the resonance identification is made. And you have really put your finger on it because, as you know, you see examples of, shall we say, telepathy or telempathy or channeling in your world all the time, when people know exactly what another person is thinking at the same time, feeling exactly what they're feeling, and you have a very concise term for that state of being. It's called being in love. That's what it is.
And that's the strongest force in the universe, isn't it?
It is
Creation.
the universe.
Yeah.
It is the substance of the universe. The vibration of the universe is what you translate in your time-space reality as unconditional love.
And that's how,
Yes.
to me anyways, the
Yes.
quantum physics really is proving that force
Yes.
is that, with
Yes.
the superstrings and all the
Yes.
wormhole, all the stuff.
It's
That's
all
going,
the same
It's all basically
thing.
boils down to that.
Yes. Your
Force.
scientists are simply finding terms to label these things with that they can relate to. But they're saying the same thing that has been said for thousands of years by what you call your mystics and yogis and so on and so forth. It's all the same.
Wow.
And it all boils down to being in love.
With life and everything else. Yeah.
With everything, including yourself.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen to that.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.